Good morning. All right, if you haven't figured it out by now, we're going to mow some grass this morning. Now, as you can see, I managed to get the bag on the mower this time. This mower is quite a bit finicky. It does not really like whatever this grass is in my yard. So it gets bogged down really, really bad. And there's no outlet for the grass. So it just gets under that pan or whatever it is and it stays under there and it bogs the mower down. So if I don't put the bag on the back, it's really a nightmare to mow the grass. Anyway, so let's mow the grass, and I think I'll talk about something writing related. It'll be interesting, I promise. Even if you're not a writer, this will be interesting. Alright, so what should we talk about? Let's see. Oh, I'm thinking. You know what? Let's talk about plot twists. Do you know what a plot twist is? That's when when you're reading a book and suddenly something jumps out of left field and changes the plot direction. When you're writing a book, same thing happens. Something jumps into your brain out of left field and it turns your plot around. Now, these usually make sense because there's some foreshadowing. You're like, man, I should have saw that. In hindsight, of course. Because the minute you see it, you're like, no way. But anyway, alright, so let's talk about plot twists. So, plot twists are like hidden rocks in the yard, right? You don't see them until you're halfway over, and by then it's pretty much too late. That rock's gonna hit your mower blade. I have a problem in this yard with wires, mysterious wires sticking out of the ground, twigs when there are no trees in my yard any longer. That's always a fun one. Then, of course, we have the rut. Now, you saw me mow around it a few minutes ago. But that rut right there, that's our resident plot hole. The property management company won't fix it. No one knows why. So now me and a few neighbors just throw sand in it. Random, unwanted sand. Bag from a broken beach chair. Dump it. Leftover sandbox from a kid who moved away. We dump that in the rut too. You know what? The rut is the new sand rut. We're just putting sand in it. And the rut is dangerous too. But your plot twist, it can be dangerous for your characters too. But anyway, welcome to my video on yard work and storytelling, a series of unfilled ruts, mysterious decisions, and communal sand. So what about these plot twists? Well, plot twists are like hitting uneven ground with your mower. It's sudden, it's a little bit jarring, weirdly satisfying if you do not get injured, and quite honestly, they're pretty fun. Right? Okay, I grew up weird, man. We used to go hiking a lot when I was a kid, and the rougher, the harder the terrain, the worse it was, the better we liked it because we always had a survival story to tell. And one of my survival stories for that is we were hiking. It was, Clifty Falls or something like that in Indiana, and my dad fell and hurt his knee. So, we're wondering if he's going to get back up. But in the meantime, we're thinking about how we could cut down some branches and make a splint and drag Dad out of there. Now, eventually he got up and we walked out, but we had a pretty good survival story. So that's kind of like a plot twist. For readers, it's the same. A good twist pulls them out of autopilot, changes what they thought they knew, and suddenly they're locked in. If you have a boring hike where nothing happens, or a boring, mow the grass and nothing happens, you don't have a story. But every time I mow the grass, I have a story because I have that rut that I survived, right? I mowed the grass and survived. So, let's be real. Predictable stories are like mowing in perfect rows over a perfectly even ground of grass, covering of grass. Is it efficient? Sure, you probably got it done in 15 seconds because you can run with that lawnmower. But you don't have a story. It wasn't interesting. There were no roadblocks. There was nothing challenging you. And here's the thing, if you don't have any challenges in your story, you're not going to have a very good story. So plot twists remind us that there's nothing as tidy as it seems. And that's where the magic is. On the bumpy stuff, on the ruddy stuff, on the stuff you might hit under the grass, right? It's the surprise in the author's stories that keep you coming back, right? You don't want to read the same thing over and over again. And I don't want to write the same thing over and over again. So you got to have a plot twist. You got to have bumps in the road. You got to have ruts. You got to have stuff in the way. Otherwise, it's boring. So let's do a little plot twisty example here. We'll do a little short story, just a few hundred words. Oh, let's call it The Key Under the Mat. When Marla told him she'd seen someone in the mirror who wasn't her, he packed a bag and left before the coffee finished brewing. She didn't blame him. He'd stuck it out through the sleepwalking, the sudden cold spots in the hallway, the way the lights flickered when she got upset. But the mirror? That was too much. That was the final straw. She hadn't even finished explaining before he was out the door with his coat half on. That was 21 days ago. Every day since, she left a note under the welcome mat. Same words, same type of paper, same hope, folded small. I'm sorry, please come home. She didn't even know if he was reading them. Maybe the wind took them. Maybe the neighbor's dog. Maybe he really was done. But on the 22nd day, there was something under the mat. Not a note, a key. Her spare key. The one he'd taken. The one that was supposed to be gone with him. Marla stared at it. Sun glinted off the metal like it knew something she didn't. It was winking at her folks. Marla stared at it. Slowly, she picked it up, half expecting it to be cold, but it was warm, like it had just been held. She turned it over. No message, just her little green dot sticker on the bow. Then, the front door creaked open. She froze. She hadn't touched the knob, hadn't even taken a step. The mat was still lifted in her hand. She still had a hold of the key. And a man was standing in the open doorway. But it wasn't him. So now everybody's going, wait, what? It's not him? He didn't come back? Well, he didn't come back, apparently. So who is this stranger with the boyfriend's key? Ooh, boy. You know, is it a friend? Is it somebody who did something to her ex-boyfriend? Is it a ghost? Is it a demon? What is it? Well, we don't know until we read the next paragraph. Marla's lungs forgot to breathe for a minute. The man didn't move, just stood there like he was waiting for her to speak first. His face was wrong. It wasn't unfamiliar, it was just wrong. Like someone had built a version of her boyfriend from memory and missed a few important details, folks. His eyes were the same color, but too wide. His smile was gentle, but it didn't reach his eyes either. And he was wet. Not from rain. It looked like he had come from inside the mirror. Well, that explained how he got into the house, not how the key got under the mat. Yikes. Her fingers tightened around the key. "Simon?" she asked, already knowing the answer. The not quite Simon tilted his head like he was listening to someone Marla couldn't hear. Then he took a step back into the house. The floorboards didn't creak when he moved, not like they used to when Simon paced during their late-night arguments or the nerve-wracking weather reports. This was silent, too smooth, like the house recognized him, but not as a guest. Shoot, not even like a human. Marla stepped back instinctively. She still had a hold of the key like it might save her, as if he hadn't just used another one to get in. "You left it open," he said softly, voice familiar but hollowed out. "You asked me to come home." Her stomach turned. He couldn't have known about the notes unless he'd seen them, read them, or worse. Her gaze shifted just for a second toward the hallway mirror. She'd stopped looking in it after he left. Too many nights she'd seen her own reflection move, half a second too slow, or blink when she didn't. Once, it smiled when she cried. "Why are you wet?" she asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped further inside the house. The floor didn't creak. The floor didn't creak. It always creaked, but now it didn't. Not under him. Marla backed away slowly. The key she still clutched in her hand. Her fingers had started to cramp. "I made coffee," he said, like they were mid-conversation. "The way you like it. The kitchen's clean now. We don't have to talk about the mirror." Her blood ran cold. He was saying all the right things in all the wrong ways. Simon hadn't made coffee in weeks before he left. He was too nervous. Said the shadows in the corner looked too long in the mornings. This man didn't look nervous at all. "Who are you?" she asked. The not Simon paused. "You let me in," he said, as if that answered everything. And in a way, maybe it did. Because Marla had talked to the mirror more than she talked to real people in the last 3 weeks. She whispered to it in the middle of the night, thinking she was talking to herself, apologizing, remembering, asking if she'd imagined it all. Sometimes her reflection answered before she'd even finished speaking. And sometimes the reflection looked like Simon. But she hadn't let it in. Not on purpose. But maybe wanting someone back was enough. He turned his head toward the hallway, toward the mirror. "You should look," he said gently. "It's better now. You'll see, it made space." Marla didn't move, not yet. Her heart pounded in her ears. The key dug into her palm. She took one step back, then another. He followed. The same smile still tugged at his lips, empty, rehearsed. "I came back for you," he said. "No," she whispered. "You came through." His eyes flashed, not with anger. It was worse. "Yes," he said. "That's what you asked for, isn't it?" Maria turned and ran. But she didn't run for the front door. She ran for the mirror in the hallway. She stopped, turned abruptly, and looked. Her reflection stared back at her. But she wasn't alone. Behind her in the glass stood Simon, the real one. His eyes were wide with terror, his hand pressed against the other side of the glass, mouthing a word she couldn't hear, but she certainly understood. Don't. She turned. The not Simon stood in the doorway, calm and still. He smiled again, but it was then that she realized it wasn't a smile. It was a crack. Marla raised the key in her fist like a blade. "You don't belong here," she said. He didn't flinch, didn't move, but the mirror did, shimmering slightly like water beneath thin ice. He looked at it, then looked at her, and for the first time, she saw fear. Maria charged. The key struck his chest, not with force, but with intention. She didn't know what she'd expected, screaming maybe, or smoke, but no. He rippled, like a reflection disturbed, and the next instant he was gone. The house was quiet again. She turned back to the mirror. Simon was still there, still trapped. But now, he had the expression of a sad, hopeful smile. She pressed her hand to the glass and said, "I'm getting you out." And this time, the mirror didn't smile without her. That was good, but she still had to figure out how to get Simon out. It might take a while. She knew that, but she would do it eventually. All right, folks, that's the end of the story. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think? Well, anyway, I also think that'll be the end of this video. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. If you would like to support the channel, you can now donate via YouTube, or if you go into the description, you'll see Buy Me a Coffee or GoFundMe links. You can use either one of those if you want to help support the channel. Anyway, folks, have a great day. I will talk to you later.